the East Room of the White House. This is just over an hour.
Americans. And so that's why I put all my focus in the beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing with those particular problems. And the other problems we're talking about, from immigration to guns and the other things you mentioned, are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing, is now begin one at a time to focus on those as well. And whether it's immigration or guns or a number of other problems that face the country. But the fundamental problem is getting people some peace of mind so they can go to bed at night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position where they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent. So we're going to move on these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneously as we can, but that's the reason why I focused as I have. And here's the deal. I think my Republican colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not we want to work together, or they'll decide that the way in which they want to proceed is to just decide to divide the country, continue the politics of division. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move forward and take these as they come.
Follow up, Mr. President.
The richest country in the world says, if you cross over the border, we will give you free healthcare, free education, all these benefits. I mean, that's a draw, isn't it?
Of course, it's an incentive. I mean, everything in life is pros and cons, right?
Yes.
So you have, for immigration, you have a con that probably you don't know the language, or you have to, the journey is a difficult one. You may die in the journey. But if in the end you will receive a lot of things, of course, the pros go up and the cons go down. So it depends. It's an incentive game here. And if, for example, if here in El Salvador we have better jobs and better security, it's less of an incentive. And you can see it in the numbers. We haven't changed the country 180 degrees in 2 years. In 1 year and 9 months we have been in government, of course. But if you see the numbers 2 years ago, you see the numbers now, immigration from El Salvador has gone
Yes.
down. And it's a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is that we have improved security by 75%. I mean, the homicide rate has gone down by 75%, and the violent crimes have gone down by 75%. And economic opportunities are a little better than what they were before, two years ago. And there's a little more hope here that the future is going to be better. So that lowers the numbers. That's why you have caravans of 10,000 people going out of Honduras. You didn't have any caravans going out from El Salvador. But 2 years ago, El Salvador was bigger than Honduras in immigration. So you have incentives and drivers here, like I told you before, economic opportunities and security, and you have incentives over there. What you will find at the border, and what you will find inside, and with law enforcement over there.
Losing energetic, risk-taking people is obviously bad for your country. You want to keep people like that here. Do you resent the fact that the United States has offered all these incentives for people to leave your country and go there?
No, I'll never resent that. But I just think that for a country, it's not profitable to get the people out. First, it's immoral. I mean, you need to provide for your people, right?
Yes.
That's the moral issue. But you also have an economic issue. If you send your hardworking people and your talented people and people that want to work and want to risk it just to go and work, you want to keep them here because those will be the drivers of your economy. You don't want them there so they could send a remittance, which would be a small portion of what they will earn and what they produce. You want them to produce here. But you're talking about problems that have been there, and not only in El Salvador, but in a lot of countries in Latin America for the last 4 decades. And this immigration thing is just feeding on dependency on immigration on the countries that drive it. So it's not good for the United States, and it's not good for El Salvador. The best thing for both of us is to keep our people here and to provide for our people right here in our country, and that's what people here want.
Yes.
So at the end, I won't resent it, of course. I think that it's better if we can keep keep our people here. That's our job, and morally, that's the thing we have to do.
Explain quickly, if you would, what you just said is not good for the United States to
Yeah.
become dependent on immigration. What do you mean by that?
No. Latin American countries, if you don't provide for your people economic opportunities, if your economy is
Right.
doing bad, if your security is doing bad, people are gonna leave, and they're gonna go and try to find a rich country, right? They're not gonna leave for Guatemala, right? They're gonna try
Right.
to go leave for they want to go to the United States. So that makes these countries dependent on immigration because what you become a net exporter of people. You're not exporting products or services.
Yeah.
You're exporting people. So that makes your economy dependent on that because then those people send money back
Right.
to their home countries, which is not a good economic formula. But it makes the economies dependent on that. So when you keep these countries depending on that, the economy is like a vicious cycle. So it's bad for the United States because immigration will go up, and it's bad for our countries because people leaving the country will go up as well. So it's bad for both of us.
Smart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's see what happens. All I know, I've been hired to solve problems, not create division. My predecessor. Oh God, I miss it.
Have you?
No, the answer is yes. My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
And then,
But here's the deal. As you observe, I'm a fairly practical guy. I want to get things done. I want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people. And in order to do that, in a 50-50 Senate, we've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, or I get 51 votes without her. And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. And if we have, Cecilia, Vega.
I'd like to circle back to immigration, please. You just listed the reasons that people are coming, talking about in-country problems, saying that it happens every year. You blamed the last administration. Sir, I just got back last night from a reporting trip to the border at 9-year-old Josel, who walked here from Honduras by himself, along with another little boy. He had that phone number
Astounding.
on him, and we were able to call his family. His mother says that she sent her son to this country because she believes that you are not deporting unaccompanied minors like her son. That's why she sent him alone from Honduras. So, sir, you blame the last administration, but is your messaging in saying that these children are and will be allowed to stay in this country and work their way through this process, encouraging families like Josel's to come?
Well, look. The idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do, that if an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either, except Trump. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead person on with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place. It's because of earthquakes, floods. It's because of lack of food. It's because of gang violence. It's because of a whole range of things that when I was vice president had the same obligation to deal with unaccompanied children. I was able to get it slowed up significantly by working with the heads of state of those communities to do things like in one of the major cities, the reason people were leaving is they couldn't walk in the street because their kids were getting beat up or shot or gang violence. Well, what I was able to do is not give money to the head of state because so many are corrupt, but I was able to say, okay, you need lighting in the streets to change things? I'll put the lighting in. We got a contractor. we got the type of lighting. We paid directly to the contractor, did not go through the government. And violent crime significantly was reduced in that city. Fewer people sought to leave. When this hurricane occurred, the 2 hurricanes, instead of us going down and helping in a major way so that people would not have a reason to want to leave in the first place because they didn't have housing or water or sustenance, we did nothing. We're going to do a lot in our administration. We're going to be spending that $700+ million a year to change the life and circumstances of why people leave in the first place. That mother did not sit around with on the kitchen table and say, you know, I got a great idea. Why I'm going to make sure my son get taken care of is I'm going to put a, how old was he or she?
He's 9. I also met a 10-year-old.
A 9-year-old. I'm going to send him on a 1,000-mile journey across the desert and up to the United States because I know Joe Biden's a nice guy and he'll take care of him. What a desperate act to have to take. The circumstances must be horrible. So we can do something about that. That's what the Vice President's going to be doing. What I did when President Obama asked me to come and deal. I was in Turkey at the time. He said, you got to come home and take care of this. So we put together a plan and it had an impact. And so the question here is how we go ahead and do this, what we do. There's no easy answer.
Quick follow, if I may. Do you want to see these unaccompanied minors staying in this country, or should they be deported eventually?
Well, the judgment has to be made whether or not, in this young man's case, he has a mom at home. There's an overwhelming reason why he'd be put in a plane and flown back to his mom.
Follow, sir. You mentioned circumstances that must be horrific. The Customs and Border Protection Facility in Donna, Texas, I was there, is at 1,556% capacity right now with mostly unaccompanied minors. There are kids that are sleeping on floors. They are packed into these pods. I've spoken to lawyers who say that some of these children have not seen the sun in days. What's your reaction? What is your reaction to these images that have come out from that particular facility? Is what's happening inside acceptable to you? And when is this going to be fixed?
That's a serious question, right? That's acceptable to me. Come on. That's why we're going to be moving 1,000 of those kids out quickly. That's why I got Fort Bliss opened up. That's why I've been working from the moment this started to happen to try to find additional access for children to be able to safely, not just children, but particularly children, to be able to safely be housed while we follow through on the rest of what's happening. That is totally unacceptable.
And that is one of the reasons for this crisis that has led to a dramatic change in just a few months, is the change in policy. There was a policy that people who had come across the border illegally would be returned across the border, and there was also the Remain in Mexico policy. With the elimination of those policies, that led to a dramatic increase in the number of people coming across the border. Second, the Border Patrol told me that they did inform the Biden administration and let them know that this influx was coming. So it's not as if the Biden administration didn't know about it, and it's not as if they didn't have time to get prepared for it, but it is clear they are completely unprepared for what is going on the border now, and they're going to be even more unprepared for what will be happening in the coming months. What the Border Patrol told me, and this is actually part of the cartel strategy, because of the volume of people coming across the border, the Border Patrol that makes the arrest, they have to engage quite literally in babysitting. And while they're doing babysitting, that provides an opportunity for the cartels to be able to bring other people across the border illegally. More about the cartels in a second. 2 factoids that the Border Patrol shared with me. Just this calendar year alone, there have been more than 800 criminal aliens apprehended. Those were criminals, violent criminals, who had been previously arrested in the United States and deported, who came across the border again. Among those included 78 sex offenders and 62 gang members, including gang members from MS-13. Know this, cartels, they are ramping up trafficking across the border. They're exploiting women and children, and they are overwhelming Border Patrol resources. The Border Patrol has made very clear to me the way this strategy works. The cartels, they are involved in every single one of these border crossings that we see. But more important, the cartels are even more involved in the crossings that we do not see. The strategy of the cartels is to overwhelm Border Patrol agents and law enforcement officials. And when the Border Patrol agents are so completely overwhelmed, it's during those moments that the cartels will bring across the border even the more dangerous elements. It could be people who are violent criminals, or it could be people who are from what are called special interest countries. Those are countries that are raise concerns about the danger they may pose to the United States, such as people coming from countries like Iran and Iraq, China, as well as elsewhere. The cartels are quite literally being enriched because of the policies that are being used by the Biden administration. The Biden administration is helping the cartels make more money and grow more power. They are allowing smugglers who are members of the cartel on the Mexican side bring in narcotic smugglers, special interest aliens, as well as drugs that include fentanyl, cocaine, and opioids. One thing that is clear from all the observations and all the information that I've been able to gather, and that is we need more ICE detention facilities in this area immediately. But the Border Patrol simply is not either given enough resources and do not have enough resources to be able to deal with this overwhelming tidal wave of people who are coming across the border. Let me be clear. Border Patrol has a role to play. The role that Border Patrol plays is they're the ones who have to make the arrest and make the detention. Then the responsibility goes to ICE. It is up to ICE to detain, to test, and to quarantine anybody who's coming across the border who may have exposure to COVID. The Biden administration does not want to talk about ICE. The Biden administration is joining together with progressives, pretending that ICE is going to go away or be eliminated. ICE is essential in this entire process, and we expect the president and the Biden administration to step up, fully fund, and actually add additional funding to the ICE program, as well as provide ICE with every tool and strategy they can provide them to make sure that they're going to be able to play the role they must play when people do come across the border. Also, let me make this very clear, because what I'm about to tell you is maybe one of the most reprehensible things I've heard this whole time. The Biden administration is not providing vaccinations for the Border Patrol. We have Border Patrol officers whose lives are on the line on a daily basis and hourly basis. And the Biden administration will not step up and provide those Border Patrol officers with the vaccinations they need. The Biden administration should surge vaccines to Texas, to all men and women on the Border Patrol this week, and ensure that every Border Patrol officer in the state of Texas will be vaccinated this week. Anything less than that is the epitome of inhumanity. That the border-related issue is the federal government's job. But Texas is not going to shy away from stepping up and filling the gap that the federal government has left open. I've told you some of the stories, and there's so many more. My phone has been ringing off the hook from ranchers in this region and regions west of here about the dramatic increase in the number of people who are crossing their ranches and causing mayhem on their ranches. You got business owners, you got homeowners whose lives are being completely disrupted. And the Biden administration does not care about those ranchers, those homeowners, and the peoples whose lives are being disrupted. He does not care about Americans. He cares more about people who are not from this country. I need the Biden administration to step up and start providing the safety and security that Texans and Americans deserve.
Thank you, Governor. It's very interesting and refreshing to be able to speak with an elected official that the first time that you meet with him, prior to this out here with us today, all he wanted to know was facts. No rhetoric, no opinion. He wanted to know facts. As a 23-year veteran of the Border Patrol, having been called upon to testify before Congress on 19 different occasions in the last 5 years, more than any other individual on border security that I'm aware of, he wanted to know facts, and I appreciate that. This is not a Republican versus Democrat issue. This is an issue that affects the American citizens, and Governor Abbot wants to be at the forefront. He wants to work with across the aisle to fix this issue once and for all. He brought up the simple fact that policy today is allowing cartels to enrich themselves. It's allowing cartels to prey upon the innocent, women, children. Cartels, because of current policy, are allowed to go into countries like Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and they're allowed now, because of policy, to advertise their services, encourage women and children to put themselves in the hands of these dangerous individuals that Commander McGraw talked about. We're seeing the abuse, we're seeing the rape, we're even seeing the murder of these innocent individuals because policy is allowing them to generate profit. Our policy should be about the American citizens, the U.S. citizens, and its protection. When we look at that, there are simple solutions. We saw under the Trump administration, the migrant protection protocols, the Remain in Mexico policy, it drove illegal immigration to 45-year lows. It cut into the criminal cartel's profits. Now that the MPP has been done away with, without replacing it with a policy that would address the same issue, has caused illegal immigration to explode. We have reintroduced that magnet that invites people to come here to the United States illegally. This is not about legal immigration. Simply put, the Biden administration, if he wants to call the migrant protection protocols inhumane, there's other things that he can do. Hire judges. Adjudicate the asylum process immediately. Allow those individuals that have a legal claim to be in the United States to stay in the United States. Deport those that do not have a legal claim. Hold these individuals in custody. Get rid of what has been dubbed the catch and release program. That is what draws people to cross the borders illegally. That is what is causing the innocent people to put themselves in the hands of these dangerous cartels. Work with the governors like Governor Abbott, who cares deeply, and I have had the opportunity to speak with him on multiple occasions. He cares deeply about the innocent women and children and wants to support the legal immigration, not illegal immigration. Give us judges. Adjudicate the asylum process as people enter the country, and we will fix the illegal immigration system that works here. Again, I want to thank Governor Abbott. I want to thank...
You know, the message has got to be to the people of Honduras and Guatemala and Mexico and Nicaragua, San Salvador, anywhere in the world. It's the message that a president in America named John F. Kennedy gave to all of our neighbors more than 50 years ago, back in 1962. Maybe it was 61, actually, his inaugural address, when he said, neither for us to ask what the country can do for us, but also for the people of the rest of the world. Ask not what America can do for you, but what can you do for the flame of freedom in your own country. So we've got some problems in America right now that haven't been addressed, that long overdue being addressed in the USA. And I am asking every person who is either currently has grown up in a country south of our borders, Mexico, San Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, that things have changed in America. We've got unfinished business, the American people do, and we are no longer able to accept your kind offer of assistance or work. We're going to have to be very firm and tell you, no, no more. We will help. We will help as best we can to make this planet a better planet in your country, but there's not going to be necessarily a lot we can do. There is a lot you can do in your own country, and same with me and here in the USA, and even old tired guys. We got to stand up. It's a very difficult time period, but it's an opportunity because we're going to go through a major change in our country and in California, and we're going to find that responsibility is going to be put on the shoulders of Californians again and the people of this country. And we're almost at, I wouldn't say a crisis, but we're at a point where things have to change. And the immigration issue, I'm asking everybody, de la gente de Central America and Mexico, no más va a Estados Unidos, no más. Joe Biden, no more, Joe, no more. You have to tell the people of Central America that we can no longer accept their visits, their entry into our country without going through legal channels. It's way too much, too much. It's not diversity. We're basically being destroyed by many things, and much of it is ignorance, and much of it is emanating right now from what was once a time the party of the people, the Democratic Party. It's almost a tragedy, but I suppose it's an opportunity for us all to wake up to what it might mean to be of the people and by the people and for the people. To have a country, to understand that it's okay to have a country, that it's just as much as you have a town or a county or a state. It's important that you have a country, important that you have what was called self-determination, as JFK tried to explain to the people of America in the early 60s, that the rest of the world wants their own freedom. They want to have a country. They want to have a country with democracy. So my hat's off to Bukele in San Salvador, to AMLO, Mr. Lopez Obrador in Mexico, and I hope the country of Costa Rica is maintaining its firm traditions of democracy and being of the people. And Honduras and Guatemala and Nicaragua have to join in, and the whole planet, and of the people, by the people, for the people. De la gente, como se dice, of the people, by the people. Por la gente, para la gente, is that correcto? Mi español es no so bueno. So gracias for all my Spanish friends, Latino friends. Got to make it a brand new planet. But no more, no más. No more entrada en Estados Unidos. Ilegal. Gracias.